Test, test. Here's my mic now. So now we're back on. I'm going to paste this in here. The only thing that we're doing is we're changing. Yeah, there's my voice. Turn your volumes down a little bit, please. This is weird. I'm going to paste that in, and now my layout size matches the window size. This is the exact same size of the other game that we did. The only difference being is that we're watching the X and Y switch. So as before, the X width of our document was the 480. Now it's the 854. And the Y was the other way. Now it's the 480. Okay? So we've changed that. And then just like with the last game, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add in a background sprite. Okay? So I'm going to double click, add a sprite on layer 0. I'm going to adjust the size right here to be the 854. Wow, I'm yelling, aren't I? It sounds louder on the computer? It sounds like I'm yelling. Let's see if I can put these volumes down and so I'm not yelling. All right. Okay. So I just made a sprite, and then the color size is up to you. Through the video tutorials, he recommends like a green color. And one of the things he says is you'll pick a green color and then find some numbers that are easy to remember. So I'm going to suggest 70, 230 for the red, green, blue values and see what that comes up to. Okay? And I'm going to paint that green color in right there. You can do whatever color you want for these things. This is just what I'm suggesting.
What was the
Size is going to be 854, so you got to do size over here. 854 by 40. All right. The error message said no memory? Low memory. All right, we'll get started back up again on Construct 2. The size for the sprite is 854 by 480. Try to put what thing is it? So your primary color is this one right here, and that's how you put it in right there. Green, and then watch the live stream. So, right now, the next thing they're going to have us do is center this. You can move it pixel at a time with the arrow keys and kind of find out where it needs to be. 427 is that magic number to keep it in there. And then 240 is the other magic number to keep it in the center of the screen. Okay? So once I've got that in there and centered, I'm going to call this background. So I'm going to go up to the top right, change the name to background. Yes, we're matching the background exactly to the layer size. Exactly right, Jacob. So we've got our background locked there. Our sprite is going to get renamed background. And then I'm going to go do the same thing over here on this layer 0. I'm going to rename it to background. This is very similar to the process we did in the other game. And I'm going to make a new layer. What should I call this one? What did we name it in the last one? Player layer. So I got a player layer there. I'm going to lock the background layer so I don't accidentally move that background anymore. And let's see, what else do we need? We're going to make, on the player layer with the player layer active, we're going to make a new sprite. Z, what's up? So right now it's not centered. Here's the arrow key to move it one pixel at a time. One more, and then down probably one more. Perfect. Now change that into the background. Okay. So I've got my player layer, my background layer locked. I've got one background object. I'm going to go and make my player sprite. So I'm going to go to Sprite, Insert. I'm on the player layer. I'm going to set the size to 40 by 40. And again, we're going to do the same thing with this one here where we'll make it simple block first and then we'll make it something cooler afterwards, after we have got the game working. Okay? So there's the size. For the colors, I'm going to go to that off-white color that he suggests, which is the 250 red, 250 blue, and 250 green. And then I'm going to drop that color in here. So now this is called Sprite, but I'm going to change this one to Player. So there's Player for us. And, you know, we can start this in the center. We can start it wherever we want. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go about to the center and say that that's good enough for me. Now we're going to make a couple of enemy sprites. We're going to have two different types of enemy sprites. We're going to have enemy sprites that don't move but are bigger. And then we're going to have enemy sprites that move left and right. And then we're going to have enemy sprites that move up and down. What's up? Mr. Picard, you got that? All right. So, I'm going to make my first enemy sprite. And it's going to be on the player layer. Size for this one, I'm going to make 30 by 30. And this one's going to be the 50, 50, 50 off black color. And we're going to call this one Enemy Rotate. Notice I'm using camel case here in the name to separate the enemy and the word rotate. Okay? So I've got that one there, and then the next sprite that I'm going to make is a little bit smaller. And this one's going to be 20 by 20. We're going to use the same off black color, fill that color in. And then I'm going to rename this one Enemy Sign. Now, I'm going to save myself 25% of the word sign and not type the E, even though sign is S-I-N-E. I'm going to say horizontal. Okay. So I've got two small enemies on the screen. I've got two small enemies on the screen, and I'm going to add a behavior to the smaller one. So this is the first time we're adding a behavior in here. The behavior that we're going to add to this enemy sign horizontal is this sign behavior down here in the movements. Okay? So we're going to add the sign behavior, and when we add it, you're going to see that sign is active on start. Sign is horizontal. Sine wave is a sign. We're just going to leave this here set like this for right now. Once we add that behavior, now we're going to duplicate this one because we got a horizontal one. Now we want a vertical one. We're going to go right click and we're going to go clone object type on the player layer. Now I've got enemy sign horizontal 2. I'm going to change it from horizontal 2 to vertical. And the only thing that I'm going to change here on this vertical one is that this movement is going to change to be vertical. Okay? So the name got changed to vertical. So we got our enemies that are on the screen. Now we need something that the player is going to move around and collect. We're going to dodge those things. Miles, close that, please. We're going to have our enemies dodge these objects. And we're going to have our enemies collect a smaller object still. So we're going to go create one more sprite on the player layer. This one will make it, well, we'll make it bigger, 25 by 25. Okay. And I'm going to change this back to that off-white color, 250, 250, 250. Drop the color in, and there it is. I'm going to call this one collectible. So that's the name of this sprite here, and we're not going to add any behaviors there. The one thing that we do want to do for this player, we want to add a behavior rather than code that's going to bound to layout. So that way when we're dragging our player around the screen, we can't drag it off of the layout. So bound to the layout is getting added in there. And I think that's it for the creation part. I'm going to pause the live stream and then see how people